Over is greater than under communication. Do you like my little arrow? I'm very proud of that arrow. I think I mentioned it earlier, and I feel like I like it. Okay, so this entire course is gonna follow this framework of basically our workflow, our process. I love this little framework. It's like a little swimmy thing. It's like, oh, up and under. And while doing this, that's more like a little sperm swimming around. I didn't really mean it that way. I meant it more like, like this. You get what I'm saying, right? Okay, so we start off with the initial meeting. Now, of course, what we're gonna say is that there's a minimum of 8 communication touch points from the initial meeting all the way to the wedding day. But of course, there is gonna be actually more than that, because more likely than not, there's gonna be more than just one email in between these processes. There's also gonna be emails and phone calls and so forth in between and before the initial meeting and everything. But there's a minimum of 8 of these touch points. Initial meeting being the first one. Our relationship begins, we communicate to understand the clients, the backgrounds, and every one of these chapters is gonna follow this process. So chapter 2 is the initial meeting, and also some of the emails. So this is where we're basically gonna help to understand our clients' needs and wants, their backgrounds. We're gonna identify the product that they're looking for and find their expectations, and we're gonna immediately help starting to tailor expectations with the initial meeting. Why? Well, because if someone comes in from the initial meeting and we don't tailor expectations from that very first meeting, those expectations are set. So I know photographers that, well, I don't want to tell them that these things are like not really things that we do. I'll tell them later. If they walk out having booked you with their expectations, you're done. At any later point in the process, tailoring those expectations is going to end up in them basically, in you not meeting their expectations. So after the initial meeting, we have our second touch point, which is basically going to be the emails, the texts, the phone calls, everything in between. Our third touch point, so the following chapter is going to be the engagement talk-through. So we're going to talk about the different emails that we go through to help prepare for the talk-through. We're going to do the actual talk-through itself and the follow-up emails. Then we're going to go into the engagement session. We're going to show you how we start every one of our engagement sessions and how we communicate our posing framework to our clients and start every session with an image that really is the best image of the clients that they have of themselves so far. When they see that, it immediately starts the engagement session off on the right foot. And then we're going to talk about basically how we use that photo session to continue helping them to build trust in us, continue strengthening our relationship, and preparing them for the wedding day, including discussing kind of wedding day planning and so forth. From that, we go into our emails and communication before the wedding talk-through. This would include teaser emails, it include preparation emails, and we actually have the wedding talk-through where we talk through all of the details of the wedding day. And that's another opportunity for us to, again, learn and see what expectations they have in terms of the timeline and help to tailor them. Then comes finally the wedding day, and we're going to show you examples and real-world case studies on how we communicate effectively with our clients on the wedding day itself, how we set ourselves up to exceed expectations, how we resolve concerns, and so forth. Finally, after that comes, all the post-wedding day communication. So you can see how much communication is involved in this entire process, and more likely than not, from that beginning point to the end point of these clients, you're going to have 20, 30, 40, 50 communication touch points where you have opportunities to understand their expectations, needs, and wants, tailor them, and then exceed them. And if you can do that across the board, these clients are going to walk away as brand evangelists for you and your company.